If you subscribe to Seeking Alpha, you, I'm sure, would have read something along these lines. Porsche Taycan is crushing Tesla Model S and X. And, well, is that entirely true? Well, in the third quarter of 2022, Porsche delivered 25,000 Taycans worldwide. Tesla delivered 19,000 Model S and X in North America. Yes, of course, they didn't deliver them anywhere else because they didn't produce enough of them. But 19,000 versus 25,000, I would say that's not a huge difference. So Porsche just had an IPO. It was massively oversubscribed. Porsche is now worth more than Volkswagen. And then they released two pieces of news. I've had people contact me saying, should I invest in Porsche? Well, here is my response. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm the Electric Viking. Great to see you. Welcome to all the new subscribers. Welcome back, everyone else. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for supporting the channel. It's great to have you here. Porsche, they make the electric Taycan sports car, you could call it. And when this vehicle first launched to market, it was extremely popular. It seemed as though Porsche was turning the tide, moving away from gasoline-powered sports cars to the new world, electric ones. But things have started to change. Unfortunately, not in a good way for Porsche. Or at least that's my view anyway. Now, within the last few days, Porsche announced that their new Macan electric version of that vehicle is now delayed. I wouldn't say indefinitely, but no one really knows when it's going to be delivered. Porsche say it's because they can't quite work out how to get the software to work. Difficulties going on at CARIAD, which is their software department, have led to Porsche and Volkswagen investing $2.5 billion into a joint venture, so-called joint venture. It's not really a joint venture. It's basically Volkswagen and Porsche buying a software team in China so that they can help them sort out their software problems in their vehicles. So Porsche's electric vehicle rollout is going to be much slower than we had hoped, much slower than they had hoped, much slower than, well, basically the market was telling you would happen. Basically, the financial advisors were telling you on Seeking Alpha and everything would happen. Porsche were about to dominate the market. Well, unfortunately, it appears as though that's not the case. Also, unfortunately, Porsche Taycan electric vehicle sales have essentially crashed to an all-time low. Now, I was quite excited for the Taycan EV when it first came out, and I still am now. It's a really good vehicle. I was just driving it today on Gran Turismo. Sounds ridiculous, but I was, and it's quite a fun car to drive. It's fast. And then I read this news. Porsche Taycan sales have crashed by 30% in Q3 of 2022. You would think that they would be ramping up sales of this vehicle because apparently there's a lot of demand for it. People would prefer one of these versus majority of Porsche's gasoline-powered sports cars. That's what surveys have said. Porsche reported that its global car sales increased during the third quarter of 2022 by 19% year over year to 75,000. However, so far year to date, they've sold 221,000 vehicles. That's an increase of 2% versus last year. So last year was a pandemic year. The truth is Porsche sales they're doing okay. They're not, collapsing like Honda and Nissan and some car companies, but they're not doing great considering 2021 was a pandemic year. Lockdowns meant decreased sales for everyone. So they're doing okay. Despite those results, Porsche's all-electric car sales decreased year over year for the second consecutive quarter, reaching the lowest result since the market launch of the Taycan model in early 2020. Basically, reaching their lowest ever result. According to the report, the company sold some 6,200 Taycans, including Taycan, Taycan Cross Turismo, and Taycan GTS in Q3, which is a decrease of 30% year over year. That's a pretty big decrease. And the electric vehicle share out of Porsche's total volume dropped to 8.2%. Now, the thing is, Porsche actually was the mainstream legacy automaker that was selling a larger percentage of EVs versus gasoline cars compared to every other maker in the world. Of course, I'm excluding BYD from this. I'm talking legacy automakers, companies that have been around for decades. Porsche was that company. They still may be. Their EV sales actually hit about 12% of their vehicle sales last year. But now we're down to 8%. Who knows how far that is going to go, considering the fact that Porsche's new EVs have now been indefinitely delayed. The company explained that deliveries declined due to supply chain related bottlenecks and declining parts availability. They said both of these factors particularly affect the electric sports car, while the order book for the Taycan remains large. So it looks like people still do want the Taycan. But, the Volkswagen Group is clearly struggling when it comes to actually getting enough parts to build the EVs that people want. Now, Inside EV says, in other words, production is constrained, and in Q3 the volume was about half of the peak in Q4 of 2021. Q4 2021, they sold twice as many electric vehicles as they did in Q3 of 2022. That's a big difference. So far this year, Porsche has delivered 25,000 electric cars to customers. That's a decrease of 12.5% year over year. And it's also 11% of total volume. But unfortunately, the trend appears to be a significant decrease. Now that means that the Taycan is outsold not only by the 911, but also by the Panamera. There is a chance that the Porsche Taycan will return to strong sales in the future. But that isn't going to happen this year, unfortunately. Porsche sales by model. Q1 to Q3 of 2022. Cayenne, 66,770. None of those are purely EV. Macan, 59,604. None of those are pure EV. 911, 80,611, of course. None of those are electric. Panamera, 25,452. Some of those are plug-in hybrids. Taycan, of course, all electrics, 25,000. Of those 25,000, 5,774 were delivered in the US, which is a decrease of 20% versus the same period last year when everyone was locked down. So clearly Taycan sales in the US have just collapsed. If you think about it, considering everyone was on lockdown this time for the first 6 months of last year, while a very large percentage of the car buying public weren't buying cars in the US during that period of time. And Taycan sales are down 20% versus that period of time. So that's pretty disappointing to see that in the US. 718 Boxster and 7818 Cayman, 14,000 for a total of 221,000. So as you can see, EV sales were on the up at Porsche, but now, unfortunately, due to, Porsche haven't been able to manage their supply chain for their EV parts. Therefore, they're just not making many EVs anymore, or at least the sales are down significantly, to be fair. Now, to give you an idea of where they're coming from, in the 12 months of 2021, Porsche more than doubled electric car sales to 41,300. That was an increase of 106%. And it was also 13.7% of total volume. So they've gone from 13.7% down to 8%. And the trend right now is closer to 5%. Cumulatively, Porsche sold more than 86,000 Taycans globally, including over 37,000 during the last 12 months. Porsche does not report the number of plug-in hybrid sales, Cayenne and Panamera, but we guess they would also have a noticeable share out of the total volume. Now, Porsche sales by market, China is by far Porsche's biggest market with 68,766 deliveries. Sales in China are down only 1% this year, which is a big surprise considering the Chinese are moving strongly away from gasoline-powered vehicles to electric vehicles. I believe Porsche will lose a significant amount of shares worldwide in China. It's just a matter of time. It's realistically, Chinese really are moving away from the old to the new. It's just a fact. And so unquestionably, because Porsche is clearly not in a position to make a lot of EVs in China, their sales will have to decrease. Porsche's second biggest market, easily dwarfs the German market, is North America with 56,000 sales. Germany's market is only about 1/3 of North America's market. So that's why the European Union and Germany are really whining right now about, their vehicles not getting tax incentives unless they're made in the US right now. Clearly, Porsche needs the US market, really, really badly needs it because it's a huge percentage of their global sales. In fact, the thing is, United States market is significantly bigger than the entire market of Europe for Porsche. Now, the interesting thing is, sales of Porsche vehicles are actually down by 4% in the US this year versus last year. To me, that's quite a surprise. So I'm hoping that, to be honest, get it together. Get it together, make EVs, bring out a Macan EV, bring out a Cayenne EV. I mean, where's that? Where's Porsche's Cayenne EV? That should be here. They should be making one now. I can't understand why this company isn't doing it. It doesn't make sense to me. A 911 electric car. What about one of those? People would love a 911 EV. People are converting them. People are like going to conversion companies and paying to get their sports car converted to electric. There's a huge amount of demand for these. Porsche, please, what's going on? Let us know what's going on. I feel like on this channel, I have pushed certain agendas, and it does feel like it helps somewhat. I don't know if that's true, but it does feel like things have changed since I've started this channel. And maybe if more YouTube channels, more media push Porsche to making more EVs, they'll actually start to focus on it. Let's hope that they do. In reference to should you buy Porsche shares? Well, consider the content of this video. What does that bode for Porsche's future? Who knows? But right now, I wouldn't say it's particularly positive. That could change. Let's hope it does. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.